The summer planting season is coming to an end and the fall season's just about to begin. We do have a lot of peppers and tomatoes and different things that we're harvesting, but the mornings are cooler and fall is definitely on the way. So the question is for the gardener, is a fall planting season worth it? How do you transition from your summer garden to your fall garden? Well, there are some principles that are really important to know, and we'll discuss those in this video. We'll still have tomatoes for a couple more months until the first frost, but it's now time to start thinking about the fall garden because if I don't start thinking now in late August, I'll lose the opportunity to have a really rewarding experience. Now, there are some people that basically at the end of summer, their gardening time is done. They're really, really tired. The summer might have been tough from the heat standpoint, maybe from a drought standpoint. Maybe your plants weren't as successful as you'd like. Pests got in the way or whatever. But I found that the most rewarding kind of gardening for me is the fall gardening, and here are a couple of reasons why. Number one, in the fall, the temperatures tend to be more temperate. Obviously, not the heat of the summer, but not the spring temperatures that are so volatile where you go from 20 degrees one day to 85 the next day, and you have a lot of problems being able to dial your plants in and plant them at the right times and have them thrive. One nice thing about the fall is the soil's already warm. And seeds, when you plant them, small plants, when you plant them, they like to germinate quickly with warm soil. And the summer offers that. The end of the summer offers it best because at the same time, you don't have that beating sun and heat. Great time in the fall. The second reason why I like to plant in the fall is because the first frost in the fall is so much more predictable than the last frost in the spring. Think back to the spring when you went to bed and you weren't sure if the temperature was going to reach 28 degrees versus 33 degrees. You weren't sure if your little baby plants were covered enough. Well, in the fall, you can really sneak up on the first frost, and it's much more predictable. And it's easier to see the finish line for your crop in the fall to be able to reach full harvest before the first frost. Whoa. One mistake that some summer gardeners make is they want to have a clean break between their summer and their fall winter garden. So what do? They come in with a tiller and they pull everything out and they till everything up and they start new. Well, that's not necessarily the best thing, and here's the reason why. Here is my Three Sisters concept from the summer, and it's pretty much done for this season. We've got a zucchini squash and the corn stalks, and there's this little pole bean that is just finishing up for the season. So, when some gardeners come in and they have this concept or whatever they're growing, they will pull up everything and it will disturb the biome of the soil. And the biome of the soil just means all the good bacteria that have been built up around the roots. Now, people consider bacteria in their heads as bad, but actually, bacteria for the most part is very good. And all of the bacteria and the beneficial funguses and things like that in the soil, if you pull all these roots up and you till everything up, that's all disturbed, and your plants and your soil have to start again. The better practice for a gardener when we get to this point in the season is to cut your summer vegetables and plants down just to the roots, not pulling the roots, but taking all the surface vegetation off. For example, this corn, I'll take it down to the soil there, and this bean plant here, I'll leave the root in there as well. So let's go ahead and cut these off right now. Pull these up. What I've got still is the mound, and these roots here are intact. That soil and all of the biome, all of the bacteria and everything going on down there is still intact and doing what it needs to do to make this a healthy soil. We'll also do the same for our zucchini squash plant. All right, once these plants are out of the way, obviously they're not going to produce any more fruit. You can throw those away or put them on your compost pile. You're going to end up with your fallow ground. I'm going to call it your fallow ground, which basically might have some weeds growing up, some grasses or things like that. You can clean those out, but you don't really want to dig too much down into the soil. In my case, I've got a nice wood chip layer on this, and that's going to cover the ground really well if I want to keep this fallow for the fall and winter season. However, if I wanted to plant in this for the fall season, I also have that option. If your choice is to plant in this soil, that's great. But remember, the rule of thumb is to disturb as little as possible. So in my case, for example, if I wanted to plant a row of turnips here, which I actually will do that, I'm going to plant the seeds in this spot. I'll just pull up all the vegetation and I will just move the soil ever so slightly in the areas that I want to plant, maybe in a row or in a patch, whatever. If you use a spade, you can do that. You can also use a rake and just kind of lightly move some of the wood chips off of this area, okay? And then put for yourself a little furrow, okay? And you can do it with that or a hoe or, again, with your spade. I haven't done a lot of disturbing of the soil, but now I've got about a half an inch furrow here that I can plant my seeds in. Everything else over here, all of this area is undisturbed, and those biomes, those bacteria, all of that beneficial stuff is still doing its thing, making that soil as good as it can be. One really important exception to the rule of leaving your roots in the ground to help your biome thrive is tomato plants. Make sure to get those roots out of the soil quickly after the last of your harvest. Those tomato roots, they attract bacteria that's bad, not beneficial to the soil, and fungus and things like that that corrupt the soil around the root system. People have for years and years found that that's the case. Get those up out of the ground. Now, other people think that potentially peppers and cucumbers, squash, they are the same way. Other nightshade type plants are the same way. I've not experienced that in my garden, but certainly with your tomato plants, get those roots up out of the ground. By now, you can probably tell that I'm about minimal gardening. Everything that is little till to no till, very little movement of the soil biome, rake when you have to, pull weeds by hand, um, different things like that really help the soil and the bacteria that's in it. So, the question is, what about raised beds? Is there anything different with raised beds? Well, the answer to that question is well, no, there's not really a lot that's different because you're still talking about a soil that has a captured biome. Now, the difference with this is that it's a smaller container, right? So you have a lot more chance to be able to control it, control weeds, control the quality of the soil, the depth of the soil. In this box here, for example, I pulled out the peppers and the eggplants that were in here. Now, remember, just like in the previous place, I've left those root systems, and I've just cut it down to the ground level. I have an option now what I want to do with this. If I have chosen to plant in this for the fall, I can go ahead and I can do my digging. Again, remember, minimal contact with the biome underneath just to plant either seeds or dig a small hole to plant your starts and then go from there. However, if you want to go ahead and make this a fallow area for the winter, you're putting it to bed for the winter. Put this bed to bed a very special way, and that is by using cardboard. It's kind of funny, but Heidi and I have become collectors of a vast collection of cardboard boxes, and there's a reason for that. We actually put this as a barrier, a protective barrier on our beds for the winter. We've been known to go to retail establishments, so even an Aldi trip. If we take one an Aldi trip and just find boxes, and it's really great to put them on top of the soil because it protects the soil, but it's not a barrier that is without permeability. In other words, the water can get through, and the nutrients that you put on top of it can get through. So, if you're putting your beds to bed for winter, I recommend putting some cardboard boxes broken up right on top of that. And then on top of that, you want to put some brown and green compost. And let me explain what that is. Brown compost would be things like leaves or wood chips that are mostly decomposed and composted. The green compost would be things that are like manure or grass clippings, different things like that, that would be less composted and therefore would have a higher raw nitrogen part of it. What you want to do is you want to make sure you have half and half. put leaves and grass clippings and all of the different things, manure. We have donkey manure. It's great. We put that on top, and then put some stones or some bricks or something like that on top of that. And what you have is the perfect protection for winter weather, and you will find that your soil will break up. It will be have the nutrients when the compost goes down through the boards. These boards, the cardboard will disappear by the spring, and you'll have this really great soil in the spring to be able to plant your spring garden. Another tool you can put in your gardening tool belt when it comes to transitioning from your summer garden to your fall garden is the idea of cover crops. When it is in respect to a raised bed, you can plant things like peas or green beans, whether bush beans or pole beans, in your late summer garden. The possibility exists that you might get some fruit from that before the frost. But the bigger thing that you want to consider when you're doing that is that those things, legumes, what they're called, they're nitrogen fixers, which means that um, they'll put nutrients in the soil rather than take nutrients out of the soil. Another thing about them that's nice is that if they bush out, they will protect from erosion and wind, and that will be really good for as a cover crop. Now, when you're talking about the bigger garden, you may want to consider instead of a lot of beans, you may want to throw down buckwheat or clover in areas of the garden that they can grow really fast and very shallow rooted. And then in the springtime, when that wants to die off, instead of tilling it up, all you do is you come through and you just stomp on it and squish it down and break it all up, because what it'll do, it'll die and it'll compost that soil, and it'll make the soil of the garden soil really great. And it, of course, helps with erosion and wind and all of that stuff as well through the winter months. So instead of doing the cardboard, you may want to consider the cover crops. One thing that I'm really passionate about in respect to gardening is the idea of Sabbath rest. I like that I can take parts of my garden throughout the year and I can let them rest with nothing going on in them at all, no planting being done, so that those places in my garden can get the nutrient levels back and recuperate their activity, their vibrancy. And they might grow some weeds, and we might throw some wood chips on them, but they will be great later on. Then they'll have all the nutrients they need. But of course, when you do that, it takes up some space to be able to plan and initiate that Sabbath rest in that part of the garden. You may not have a lot of space to be able to do that. So I've come up with this concept where I can continue to allow my garden proper to have Sabbath rest, but still use the space. And what I've done here is I've actually put a raised bed box. Now there's some plastic underneath this, which means that this raised bed is separate from the garden proper. This soil is still resting, and I put a yard of soil in this 16 by 4 bed. And all of this is portable. These boards will come out quickly, the corners will come out quickly, but this fall and into the winter, I'm going to overwinter some greens. We're going to have greens into the winter and then again in the spring. Early next summer, my plan is that I'm going to pull these boards out. I will rake all of this soil into this area, and now I'm going to have a fully rested area to be able to plant some summer vegetables. And of course, it will have this additional soil which has thrived over the winter as well. Kind of exciting concept. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. One concept you need to know for fall and winter gardening is the idea of a season extender. A season extender is simply any material that will cover your seeds or your small plants in order to allow the season, while it gets into the low 30s, maybe even high 20s, those seasons can be extended a little bit so your harvest then can also be extended. Season extenders can be really anything that covers your baby plants. It could be a milk jug cut in half with that part put on top of the plant. It could be a plastic bag or even bed sheets that are old and can be laid on the plants. So a light covering on the plants when it's frosting outside. If you would rather purchase some season extenders, one that I like a lot are these poly hoops. These poly hoops I purchased, and they're really a good product. They're 16-foot long. They are made out of polyplastic material around these hoops that are just basically aluminum hoops that spike into the ground at different sections. You can stretch this out or you can push it back together, and they cover pretty much completely your plants. They can really be graded down to the mid 20s. I've used them for a lot of plants as it gets into the even late November, early December weather here. And overwintered lettuce really well under these. I really like them a lot and I would recommend them. One question we get asked, probably more than any other, with respect to fall gardening is what should I plant in the fall? And that's a really good question because, things like this loofah gourd that are definitely summer plants, they are not going to do well if you plant them in September. They won't last till after the frost. So, what you have to do is you have to think about what you want to plant in the fall that will last through the first frost and maybe even over winter into the next spring. We've found that it's really easy to just say anything you can plant in the spring, you can plant in the fall. All of the early season greens, like for example this lettuce, you can plant in the fall. You can plant radishes, you can plant carrots, you can plant turnips, you can plant kale and spinach. All of those types of things that you plant in the early spring and grow really well then, cauliflower, broccoli, those types of things you can also do in the fall. So keep in mind, no tomatoes, and no peppers, you won't be able to keep them alive very long in that weather. We recommend that you check online for your growing zones to make sure you know what your window is for fall gardening. You have to back up from your first frost date all the way to your planting time, whether it starts or seeds, to make sure that you have a full season that you can grow the whole plant and harvest it before the first frost. Of course, we did a whole video on this and we'd love to share it with you. We'll link it at the end so that you can see what your window might be for growing your fall crops. One concept you may want to consider is to try to have as many perennial type of plants in your garden as possible. It's really nice when you plant once and you can harvest forever. For example, asparagus, fig trees, and berry bushes like blueberries or even this thornless blackberry we have here are great because they go through their cycle of the season, even in and through the summer. And in the fall, there's harvest. And then all you have to do is fertilize and prepare it for the winter. With figs, you cut them back, no problem. With the berries, you might have to pin them up on the posts and they're ready to go. And then the next spring, they'll do their own thing. It's a lot easier when you have perennials that continue to grow year after year than having to start back over again with your annual plants. Our cucumbers are done for the season. We had such an abundance this year, and some of them were just left on the vine at the end of the year. One concept you want to remember when you're cleaning out your summer garden for your fall garden is look around for opportunities, for example, to get some seeds, to collect seeds like this cucumber here, because those seeds can be your plants for next summer, and they will be free. We've covered a lot of principles in this video that will help you with your fall garden concepts. Everything from protecting root bacteria to adding perennials to your garden to even when to plant and what to plant. I hope that some of these concepts might help you in your garden this fall, and as you lean into it, you will find that it will be such a rewarding experience. As always, blessings from our homestead to yours.